Good evening, everybody. Please get a drink, sit down. We're gonna start our amazing evening, Vilnius Founders Christmas event. Woo! Pretty good. I like this crowd. And without further ado, we have Povilas Sabaliauskas, CEO and co-founder of Pulsetto. Povilas is building one of the Lithuania's most impressive consumer tech success stories. I need to brief. A science-backed wearable that uses vagus nerves to stimulation to help people reduce stress, sleep better, and improve overall well-being.
Yeah, perfectly said. Yeah, but in general, we have a wearable device which you put it on the neck, stimulate your vagus nerve to reduce the stress, anxiety, and basically we are tricking your body into relaxation state. So you have two states: fight or flight, or rest and digest, and we're switching your body state.
Beautiful. This year, Pulsetto went from niche to mainstream in a big way, including nearly 9 million in revenue in a single month, a Times Square billboard campaign, and recognition as a Deloitte #1 company to watch. So, Povilas, let's start. How did you come up with the idea for Pulsetto in the first place?
A real story or a science fictional story? But
real story, and if it involves grinder, just go ahead.
No, but in general, I was working with implantable devices previously, like a liaison for a medical device company. So I worked with deep brain stimulators, vagus nerve stimulators, and spinal cord stimulators. And basically had a problem in my family. My father became ill and he was degrading over time. And vagus nerve stimulation, like a side effect, had quality of life improvement from implantable devices. So I wanted to basically try it on him, but could not find a solution on the market. So basically, you know what happens next when you are an engineer trying to build myself a device. But my father passed away, and COVID came to reality, and I met my co-founder Vilnius, and the rest is history, grinder and everything else. Yeah, but or maybe I have dreamt it somewhere.
Hardware and wearables are, famously hard to crack, to build a business. Investors are afraid to invest. It's hard to start with partnerships of manufacturing. How did you manage to push through the valley of death?
It's there's the saying, but hardware is hard due to that you need a lot of cash to build this kind of business, and we received, I don't know, hundreds or thousands of no. And one company and one person basically gave in, which was Burgaila from Kilo Health. He believed in us, but in general, in Lithuania we had two startups which were successful in hardware. It was Deeper and Eldes, in my opinion, and Eldes was basically closing at the time. So not a lot of success stories, so not a lot of belief. And when we started to basically received the initial funding, we understood that, okay, now we need to do some marketing, and we approached this as a startup. We went to crowdfunding to Indiegogo platform, where we basically understood if our device is needed or not. Due to that, we did not have any money to, let's say, launch this business, but Indiegogo showed us that in 2 months we basically gathered around 250,000 euros. That was basically gave us the money to build this kind of business. So.
Well, afterwards, you still need to ship the product, right? And
what is easy?
So how it was finding, let's say, and building the first product prototypes, manufacturing? How did you guys do it?
So basically, I think 50 or 100 devices were built in my living room, assembled, written all the documentation, shipped, and etc. So I had like a small factory in my house. So that was quite interesting experience. But later, of course, we outsourced it. Due to that, it's quite hard. But I have a lot of memories about those times. Not all of them are good. Due to that, okay, I need to ship, let's say, 100 devices, and I need to assemble through a lot of houses, some small parts. So one day I had like DHL heavy truck in my driveway, which was basically getting the pallets. So, you know, a lot of, let's say, neighbors were unhappy due to that. We could not leave for work, yeah.
All right, and well, starting with these humble beginnings, when did you realize it's going to be a success, that you have a product market fit? And
I still do not know if we're successful, yes, but you know, it's a thin line between having a great success story and, you know, 1 month which will, you know, can break it basically due to that. It's a hardware business and you have to invest a lot of cash flow. So in general, we have 220,000 customers, and I understand that we can fit them in 3 stadiums. So it's not that a lot of customers actually. But I think last January we understood that we have a market fit. Then we sold more units when on Black Friday. So we understood that, okay, this is ramping up and this is not going down. And you know, and it's still going up. And we do not know where it might fall down, but in general, right now it seems that we are getting traction, not getting, let's say, slow down. Yeah.
yeah, and now you announced this milestone that you reached 9 million euros in revenues in a single month. What was like biggest push that helped you reach this?
So we reached actually last month the revenue of last year, so that is quite amazing. So 3 years in a row, 3x growth.
Applaud, guys, applaud, come on.
But I think one thing is always constant, that we never stop thinking how we can sell, what kind of features we can bring to the customer. So this is never-ending story. You know, if we, you know, ask me or Vitalijus, we always, okay, this is a last step. What we can do else? How we can diversify, not to be, let's say, locked in with Meta, with Google, with our channel. So you know, it's. I think right now that today's result is last year's planning. So basically, you know, in general, we're like a startup, but we do plan a lot. We have to plan due to that we have a hardware business.
Right on. And you also raised from a number of investors. You already mentioned Tadas Burgaila, and you participated in Shark Tank. Maybe you can tell a little bit about your fundraising journey and how it was participating, pitching in the Sharks.
Shark Tank is amazing in general. If you watched US, so this was like our dream to be in a Shark Tank. We also have a dream to be in a Shark Tank US. But you know, maybe next year or the year after that. But you know, the experience is amazing, and I would say if you have any ideas, you can always pitch. And this is very good opportunity to get exposure, to get once in a lifetime TV experience. It's quite intense, but you know, it's good that we have a device which can reduce the stress, so we can prepare quite good for this. But once in a lifetime experience, and I would say it will do a lot of things good for Lithuanian ecosystem due to that young people understanding that, okay, this can be an option. I can have a business, I can create something for myself, and I can raise money with that, with just an idea. So, 10, 15 years, it was like a dream, and now it can be a reality, basically.
And can you tell how much you have raised in total, and from what kind of investors?
We raised a lot, 2.5 million. Yeah, yeah, but we will finish this year with around 39 million of revenue. So it's basically a huge hill to climb. But we're currently raising Series A, which is also quite interesting due to that. I would say in Lithuania we do not have any VC funds, 2 VC funds which can give tickets in this kind of size, but we need a strategical investor, and usually they come from US because all the money is in the US.
More or less. Well, Europe is picking up, so fingers crossed. So now looking back, I would definitely say you're already kind of a success, especially in our region, in Europe as a hardware startup. What helped you kind of validate your ideas in the beginning and test your hypothesis? get your hardware product into the market and get this feedback?
I still get basically every week that where we are not working or something like this. So I do not know if we are validated. In Lithuania, we have a lot of, let's say, people who are asking, okay, this is a scam or etc. So, okay, this is why we provide this, let's say, closed loop system, where you can connect your wearable device and check your heart rate, variability, resting heart rate, and we can increase those biomarkers and improve your health. So, it's usually when you're a founder, you have a story like this. Nobody believes you until you succeed, and we have a lot of universities which were, let's say, ignoring us. Now we are coming back and say, why did you not come to us to speak, to develop this kind of technology? And I show them emails and so, okay, I already outreached you 4 years ago and you were basically shadow banning me. But in general, I would say, one thing that you need to have as a startup founder is to forget all the no's and focus on the idea which you're trying to achieve. Because, you will get a lot of no's. And, this is like, I don't know, I do not date anymore, but maybe like in dating, you get hundreds of no's until you get some yeses, yeah.
So the grinder strategy was successful, no way.
Yeah.
So I don't want to sound like, that I'm repeating myself, but as a guy who's been only building software products, I always look at the hardware people with awe. So because there's supply risks, manufacturing risks, trends change, like all these risks, which is way more complicated. And you have to sink so much money up front into the parts, into materials. And then, maybe people will just not buy. How do you manage all these risks?
Risk mitigation strategies, but there are some things which we do not even anticipate, like who remembers the DHL plane crash? We had components in that plane, and we understood that, okay, now we need to go to our suppliers and basically have a very good relationship with some partners. So, diversifying. So we assemble our product in 4 places. For every component, we have at least 2 suppliers. So it's a huge, let's say, strategy, and we have smart people. And this is why we're constantly hiring people who build this kind of, let's say, systems and, getting us where we want to be. So, this is our approach. If we do not know how to do it, find someone who already done this and, hire him.
And if I remember correctly, recently you announced like a number of partnerships in UK, United States, where Pulsetto was being started to sell in big retail brands. Was this like a goal and strategy from the beginning, or did you decide to do this just recently?
So it's a long or high hill to climb due to that.
Maybe firstly you can mention where is Pulsetto being sold now?
Everywhere. I don't know. No, but in general, from Selfridge to Best Buy, I think only Best Buy in the US, Walmart, but only right now on websites. Due to that, nobody understands what vagus nerve stimulation is. So it's not like a hairdryer where you have a placement in a shelf. So we're basically creating a category, vagus nerve stimulation, which needs to be developed and understood for the customer. So for us, retail takes longer time, but it's coming. We're building this for 1 year and we're seeing some tractions, but it takes time.
I have an idea for you. Sex toys will be way easier to explain, and then you can sell the vagus stimulation.
Yeah,
I like the dead silence on this one. Thank you, guys. I don't feel awkward at all now.
Yeah, but we spoke about this, internally. Okay,
it was a joke. So just coming back to the question. So was it super hard in getting into Walmart? Any tips for people potentially want to work at Walmart or any of these big brands?
It's really hard actually, and you need to find the right events in US. where you can meet directly and schedule meetings one-on-one with their product development team. So there are specific conferences where you have like dedicated time for all the, let's say, B2B suppliers, and it seems this is the only way how it works. Due to that, you can outreach and you will always be ignored, but when you're going to those conferences, you see some tractions due to that. There are some key opinion leaders who basically knows how to push products into the shelves.
And on top of all of this, you guys were also featured in a Netflix documentary, right? By Brian Johnson, the guy who wants to live forever. He also already looks like he's a vampire who's gonna live forever. So, was this a paid promotional, or it just happened?
So January 1st was one of the best days, a little bit, let's say, hangover, but you see Netflix documentary, and you're getting a lot of, let's say, notifications. Okay, have you seen Don't Die documentary? You understood that he promoted us. We did not know that he's creating this documentary. Also, on the same. Okay, I will say that again.
He's listening.
Yeah, and also the same day we understood that Cristiano Ronaldo is not using our device due to that. In some Brazilian podcast, LOL, some famous musician in Brazil was recommended, Cristiano Ronaldo recommended our device to him, and the best day, I think, now when we received that Deloitte, the fastest growing CEE company, so maybe that was comparable to the January 1st actually.
Awesome. Well, amazing year, amazing achievements. Now, here we have a lot of early stage founders who are either already starting or want to start. What would be your advice for them, especially if you know like specific mistakes that you made, that you can advise people definitely don't do that? Like practical tips.
Practical tip is try to check if your idea can be solved, basically, in my opinion. Due to that, I know from technical side, because I'm a, let's say, engineer myself, I have a lot of people and friends who build their software or something, and they never tried it to sell it, and they have a product which is not needed. So in my opinion, it's easier to build an MVP and try to understand what is the niche or market need, and maybe you will have a time to pivot if something is not going the way you think, and usually this is the common thing. Basically every successful founder I know pivoted multiple times.
Right on. And then maybe specifically, let's say for hardware products, hardware founders, consumer or not consumer, what would you advise them, how to faster get a product to the market, avoid these risks that you mentioned? Because when you're starting, like you were with your co-founder in a bedroom, you're not going to have these experienced people that help you mitigate all the manufacturing and other risks.
So one thing that me and my co-founder had, we already had previous businesses. So I had manufacturing business, which went down. My co-founder had like another business which also went down. So we understood what is needed. We need to generate revenue and we need to move fast. So usually these kind of things, fail fast and try to pivot if needed. And with hardware right now, when you have a 3D printing technology and other technologies which allows you to generate ideas faster, in my opinion, this is a key to success, to build, iterate, and also not to over-validate your ideas. Try to get some references from right people and trying to understand, is it needed or not? And if you see, the potential, you can, go full steam ahead.
Awesome. And Pulsetto is, by the way, a guy is hiring for multiple positions. I don't know if you want to give just a little bit what you're looking for right now.
So this year we will finish with 39 million or even more. And, next year we're planning to reach even, 100 million of revenue or even more. Sky is the limit due to that. We're hiring right now, 7 positions, but next year we're planning to hire additional 40 people, something like this. So, it's a good opportunity to see how the next unicorn will be made, in my opinion. But we will see. But we're constantly looking for smart people who have ambition and trying to make a difference. And with our technology, in my opinion, we are democratizing, let's say, neuromodulation in general. And it's a very fulfilling thing when you're doing and getting good reviews and changing lives. And this gives us a motivation to move faster and scale even more aggressively.
Right on. And guys, by the way, today the drinks are sponsored by Pulsetto and Salesforce, so you can also now give a very loud applause. Wait a second. So, thank you, Povilas. Thank you for sponsoring the drinks.
Thank you. And we will see in the grinder, yeah?
Well, we're gonna have a 3-minute break, guys, before we interview Frank Saunders, the founder of Salesforce. So go grab a drink, sit down, or try to sit down, and talk to you soon.